Ever since Battleship came out in 2012, directors have realized that you can get away with making movies based off of products for pretty much everything. They've made movies on SeaWorld, Barbie, autism awareness. They even made a movie based off of the local abortion clinic, for Christ's sake. It was only a matter of time before they made a Hot Wheels movie. So the movie starts out immediately with Max escaping the Cheeto dust infested deserts with what looks to be a bootleg HEV suit. But Max seems to forget that he's actually fucking terrible at escaping and escapes in the loudest goddamn car ever, resulting in him getting caught by these crackheads. They then drag Max back to their place, but unfortunately for Max, they just so happen to be huge fans of Pulp Fiction. And whenever they get them into their crack house, they immediately begin reenacting the basement scene. They even brought Boris from Men in Black 3 along to the party. Boris then decides to start piercing a journal entry on Max's back about how he boiled a My Little Pony figurine into a jar of cum. A little prank that the crackheads occasionally play on their victims. Then Max is like, you know what? Nigga, fuck yo couch, and escapes the druggies that like to inject heroin in their urinary tract. Max fucks up though, because it turns out he actually has the IQ of a goddamn tire. Then Max is like, come on guys, it was just a social experiment, calm down. But they don't take his shit. Meanwhile, in Bowser's castle, Bane, who is notable in this movie for having aged since The Dark Knight, shows up to reprise his famous stadium speech, but people honestly just came to get in the splash zone and see Shamu. Afterwards though, Bane sends out some crackheads in some carts to go get the cheat codes to Halo 2, but then this one bimbo with the Tumblr feminist haircut decides not to go after the cheat codes to Halo 2, but instead go after the cheat codes to Spore. Bane is triggered by this though, because he's been stuck on the same goddamn level for fucking 8 years now, and he ain't going through the same shit again. So he begins a manhunt. It just so happens that amongst the manhunting adventure, Max was put with Jeffrey the sex offender. So basically nothing could possibly go wrong at this point. But out of nowhere, the feminist haircutted bimbo is detected by a group of Tuscan raiders, and they decide to participate in a friendly game of Mario Kart. But then Bane gets the mushroom power up and catches up to the bimbo. To make matters worse, Bane even has the blue shell, but loses them in a swirling vortex of Cheeto dust, along with my psychiatrist and the sex offender. This is whenever Max finds out that the bimbo was helping these pregnant bitches from Bowser's castle escape. Apparently they aren't even actually pregnant, but only appear so because of the massive amounts of cocaine they're harboring in their digestive tract. The crackheads like to snort said cocaine on their tits too. It's kinda kinky, honestly. However, amongst all of this, Max makes a deal that if they get this oddly structured bondage fetish off of his face, that he'll show them the way to the Spore cheats. So they stop at some canyon made entirely out of Cocoa Puffs, which this film is notable for being the first film in cinematic history to use full advantage of cereal to make sets out of. They stop there to unhook the Krabby Patty secret formula, but then she's like, God. And heads for the fields. But uh-oh, somebody forgot that Nesquik isn't solid, and a shit ton of it falls in front of Bane before he can use his 3 Koopa shells. Jeffrey the sex offender just so happens to be with Bane as well and climbs aboard Bane's oversized Chuck the Truck figurine. Bane eventually catches up thanks to his Thunderbolt power-up, but then Max reveals to Bane that he had the pregnant bitches the whole time. So Bane tries to convince him that if they come back now, he'll let them onto his Club Penguin account because he has membership. But little does he know that they actually have membership on Club Penguin and Habbo Hotel. So then Jeffrey tells Bane that he plays RuneScape, but because Bane doesn't accept that shit in his house, Bane kicks Jeffrey out of the oversized Tonka, forcing Jeffrey to join Max and the Tumblr feminist. But then, a pregnant bitch accidentally hits a rock and falls out of the car, showing the true horror of drinking while driving. Later, Max drives into the swamp of sadness, but gets stuck because he never saw the never-ending story. Surprisingly enough, though, it turns out tying a chain to the lynching tree is just as effective as losing your horse. Thanks, asshole! Eventually, the Tumblr feminist runs into a couple guys she ran into while browsing Craigslist. She asks for the nearby directions to the sport sheets, but then the Craigslisters are like, "Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention you passed it like 20 minutes ago." So then, the Tumblr feminist decides that if she can't have the cheats, nobody can. So they start headed back to take over the crack house. Bane finds out, as fucking usual, and spews out exposition, and this faggot in the background has been rubbing his nipples the entire goddamn movie. And I'm tired of this fucking shit. I just wanna go home already, for fuck's sake. And dead. It fucking sucks.